Hey everybody, it's Marty, the JavaScript party, and Rhett, my arch nemesis. So, so I have her here. I think she mostly to you know add a little bit of chaos to the channel. Um, I do like to sort of emulate the. I mean, the main reason I have a cat down here. Um, the main reason we don't that I've done this, one of the main reasons I've done this channel is kind of I don't think that the way most software coding is presented in TV or in college or by like high school and middle school teachers is in any way in these days any way like what actually coding is like. So I do think that like a lot of like it a lot I about 4 or 5 years ago, every time I would meet a brand new, you know, junior developer, like they thought that they were going to be doing something that was 100% different than what they did. You know, like they thought it was going to be just a very very different experience, but like actually software coding and software, to develop stuff is a very meticulous and focused thing that is ends up being a lot of like muscle memory and things like that. But you know, there is like when you're learning to code and stuff, you end up having a lot of chaos in your world. I mean, when you're learning, you often are, most people that learn in a very quiet and focused way. And then when they go into the career, that is unusual for it to be quiet and focused. Because even if you're working at home, you often have a lot of distractions with, because you tend to have like an email and then some sort of like Teams type of thing. And then many other times, a couple other uh, ways of communication schemes that you all share, and it's very very different than when you learn how to code. And so I think Rhett, to me, one of the things she represents is that chaos. Um, I do tend to repeat things over and over again because as far as I can tell from my analytics, I get a couple of truly appreciated people that watch the videos regularly, and then like the vast majority of people only watch one video, and they only watch uh, and they only watch one time. So I kind of feel like I need to sort of explain what's going on. But basically now, in the last video, I got ThreeJS integrated into my um, into my Angular application, and here it is. You know, the this is the final, this is the product. And it is interesting to me. Like one of the things is um, that we'll have to do is right now, if you were to look at if we look at this animate, basically this set animation loop doesn't run at a full, like it doesn't run at the exact same time, and it changes this rotation by a set amount, but the time difference isn't different. And after having worked with ThreeJS for over a year now, pretty heavily, I can actually see how unsmooth this actual rotation is. I remember the first time that I did this, I could not persuade it, perceive it. But we did have some, like when it was moving side to side, I would have it sort of moving. Once we straightened it out, you could truly see a smoother, that it's smoother. But anyways, that's for another video in the future. One of the features of this year was of this new thing, and I'm in, I believe, the sixth. Yeah, this is the sixth video of the series. So like in the first series, I had a rotating um, cube in the first series, and now it took me 5 to do it, and that was because um, the I got the unit tests running and tested those, and I got the end-to-end tests installed and Cypress. So now let's see. I do not think that unit tests should be broken at this point. I believe unit tests um, should shouldn't care about any of this, but I could be wrong. So let's just try it. So I think it's npm run test. And the reason it's npm run test is because in this package, we have a test command. And this will actually test with code coverage. So, and I'm actually very curious. I would believe that the code coverage will run all the way. We'll still have 100% code coverage. And the reason, yeah, Rhett, yeah, yeah. The one thing, Rhett, we always watch our videos right before. Um, so I watched the 5th video right before that, and I could tell that she was just like, "Oh, that's me," and then, um, so I think she knows that we're gonna be watching this tomorrow, and she's gonna see herself. So she's preparing for that. But so I'm gonna run the unit tests. So I wrote npm run test, and it ran test with code coverage. So basically mimicked what it saw in here. And I'm always surprised at how long it takes, but it basically has to build the entire application out. And we have this specification file, and so I don't know why it's crying about these. To be truthy does not exist on type assertion. So, but I think that's just a problem. The IDE would be my guess. So the first one is just expecting the whole app to be truthy. So that should not be an issue. And then the second one is looking for the title to be space and time, which I believe will be that. So it came in, it is running now. Oh, I always do this. I get very confused, and I think that, there we go. So that's cool, and it ran all 3. So it executed. Since this was in the constructor, and since there was one test, it just stayed showing. I believe if we had had more tests, it might have not. But so that's, I think, a positive. And then I believe in our, I don't know what to do about this. I'm going to make this smaller. This will definitely become a more smooth thing in the future. So basically, this is running. It says that it had 19 statements, and we got 100% coverage on those. So what I can do now is I can kill this, and then I can open a new browser, and I can go to this coverage. And I believe I can drag this. I don't know if I can drag it straight from. Oh, yeah. So it's telling me that. So this is all good. It's green and everything. And then it shows how many times each line was executed as part of the test. And as you can see, this guy actually ran 14 times during the tests because it's on a loop. So that's good. That's really good. Now, we also have another test suite, and that's our end-to-end test, and I believe those should pass too. I'm not as familiar with end-to-end testing, so I'm not quite as confident that they'll pass, but I don't think we did anything that would cause that. So we have 2 of them. We have Cypress open, and we have Cypress run. I believe run would just give us a report back, and this will actually open it up. And I cannot remember npm run trolling. I am ready. Are you ready? Right. Throwing me kisses and asking me if I'm ready. Okay, so I guess we don't need that anymore. There we go. So that's nice. So it brings up this thing. I think it's probably an an Angular application in Electron, which I think is just beautiful. I think it looks great. And then I believe we want to click on this. And I've always thought it would be a good idea to build applications in Electron because once you have an Electron, you can actually control the the browser that is going to be used, and I think that is huge. So I think Cypress is just way ahead of the curve of what companies are going to do. I wish like most of the companies that I worked for in the past would have done like Electron. Um, so yeah, so let's go ahead and hit this button, start end-to-end testing in Chrome. It took over the whole screen again. So let me, oh, that's nice. It went down to the previous size. So as you'll see, um, we have one test and we click this and it'll actually execute the test. And it'll tell me the result. And I have a little red check mark there, or green check mark there, so it is passing. Um, so that's good. That's what I would have thought. I guess if it had been failed, I would have failing. I would have learned something. But so that's awesome. Very happy with that. I just cannot wait till this application gets a little more mature and we can do like more stuff in those end-to-end tests. I think it's going to be really, really like next level cool. You know, like my biggest sadness of the previous application is there was no way to capture anything. Like once I built it, it was built, and then once I closed the browser, it was over. Um, so that does that. But we have a million things to do on this application, and one of the very first things I want to do is going to be to create an uploader and stuff like that. But but before that, I think basically all we're doing is just running this code, and um, so there's a lot of things that need to be done. Like I want to have multiple different. The last one you could only have one graphic, but I want to be able to have multiple graphics that you can modify. So these need to go into a component to where you have multiple components. I want to kind of separate this code out into its own services. I think one thing I learned in the last application is that I sort of need to have my version of the truth, and then there's the ThreeJS and anything that interacts directly with the ThreeJS. So like I need to know in my side that the camera position is one, but um, uh, I need something that writes and updates the ThreeJS stuff with one. So I need like my version of camera position Z is one, and then there needs to be another one. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this console log because it's not of any value, and I'm going to move this to like 2 just so you can see. So when the camera comes out, see now we're farther out, and then let's move the camera to 0.5, so now we're really close to this. So I think that's really, really neat. Like I said, I was really surprised. The code that I'd written before ended up getting very layers and layers deep, and I actually thought that the camera and the scene were kind of together. And it looks like the camera is just part of the renderer. Um, anyways, yeah. So we how far along are we in this video? Yeah, we're 15 minutes in, so I think it makes sense to sort of call it a day at this point. Um, And then what I think the next smartest next step would be to just sort of create a three scene that or three service that handles um, writing things to to 3JS, and then handles this animation. This basically manages this scene and manages this camera. Um, and then I don't know. I feel like this animation piece needs to be its own service that just basically is completely dedicated to animations. Um, and then I definitely need some uh, of my own, another like space and time service that manages like what we know, and I guess calls these 3JS things, not directly, but calls the scene. So basically, I think I need to add three new services, and um, this code either needs to be modified and moved over into those service. I mean, needs to either just be lifted and shifted over into those services, or it needs to be tweaked. Um, like obviously, we do not want to hard code these kinds of things. We want a function that knows how to create a three box geometry, and then and all that. And then we want to make sure that we keep our perfect 100% code um, uh, unit test coverage, and I guess that nothing is changing on the end to end in anything I just described. So the end to end should stay as is. Um, Probably do want to get rid of this hello space and time, which will break our end to end, and have it look for something different, like maybe this, like a div or something like that, or I don't know. But or maybe just get rid of the whole test of the, or change the test to do something else. And then as you see, we have these guys here, and that's just because um, over here we tell it to make the width that we're going to build at 100%, but then there's padding and stuff. So 100% is actually, once it makes it and puts in the the div, then all suddenly it's like 100%. Um, it's bigger, because there's margin around it. We probably should. Well, I guess maybe that this is a good time to do that. So I think the one of the problems is that the body has a padding in there, or maybe a margin. I don't know. Let's look in the inspector. Um, yeah, it has a margin of 8px. So see if we can overwrite that. 0px. Yeah, so that helped a lot. I think that got rid of most of the um, horror. Well, I mean, I don't know. It looks like we still have the horizontal for some reason. Um, and then see, this canvas is wider than the width, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, and I guess that doesn't even matter because we are going to be we're going to be componentizing this stuff. But, and I did want to mention that this change had to be done in the styles section. Um, so this change that I'm about to do will break all the unit tests and the end-to-end tests, because they're, well, not all the unit tests, but a couple of unit tests that now are all of our scroll bars are gone. Do think it looks a lot nicer too. Um, and this thing is, so I would love for it to recalculate the width and the height, so that whenever something like that happened, it would then rebuild the whole screen. Um, and that I probably want to do very soon. That actually I want to do that ASAP. Well, I guess it doesn't make any sense because it's going to be inside of a div, and so it's going to be like whenever the div or some event happens. So maybe not, but it really was one of the things that really annoyed me in the last video series. Was like I was like, it's a cost, but it doesn't matter when I do it because it's going to be the same level of effort. And then I never did it, and it just sucked. Um, but I would love for it to be like super dynamic. But anyways, let's see, 20 minutes. So I could have got out. I could have got out with an A, with a sub 20, but now I got a B for this. I consider any video that takes less than 20 minutes to be an A, and then if it takes between 20 and 30, it's a B. And then actually, it's supposed to be anything less than 10 is an A, anything less than 20 is a B, and anything less than 30 is a C. So I'm at C plus right now. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.